A man commits several felonies to win one lady's heart. This is The Fast and the Furious on Stinker Madness.
Stinker Madness. Stinker Madness. Stinker Madness. We got the Stinker Madness.
Hello, welcome to Stinker Madness.
I just came up with an alternative title for the film.
Please bring it.
Because it's felonies, and it's about love, but it's also about racing. Time Trials of the Heart.
Ooh, yeah. I thought you were going to go with something like he fell on his knees. Fell on knees to love a woman? I don't know.
Beep, 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 beep. The car went beep, beep, beep.
That's about all that happens in this movie.
So,
No, I'm going
goes beep, beep,
110. Oh.
if the Japanese title would be Man in Jacket Does Nothing.
They do some really crappy camping.
Yeah, this is crappy camping.
Yeah, quite a bit. This is a poor start to our second year of podcasting.
What? Don't say that.
This movie.
So what if I thought that this movie was in color based off the cover art, and I was like, all right, any second now the color's going to turn on like the Wizard of Oz, and it didn't.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Like, this is the foundation for the rest of AIP. This was not a good start to what they were going for.
No. This thing was what I didn't mention in the point 5 was that this made $250,000 in the drive-in circuit on a $50,000 budget. So they cleaned up with this thing.
It's not terrible.
But
Do you really go to the drive-in, though, to watch the movie?
That's true. That's true.
You're going there to honk something, but it ain't your horn.
As long as there's some air of romance in the film, that's all you pretty much need to make a drive-in movie in the 50s. So that you can tune in Tokyo, not on the radio.
neckin'.
Yeah, neckin'.
Beep, beep.
You know, this is probably a perfect film for that sort of stuff because there's not a lot of dialogue.
No.
There's not even that much audio. So the sounds that are coming through your car stereo really do not affect the sounds that you're making of.
Now, Justin, in the 50s, they didn't do it through their car stereos. They had a little box, and you rolled down your window, and you set the speaker box on your window, and then you turned it up.
Oh, I thought it was, at this point, you were still using...
No, they were hardwired in.
Yeah.
So there was like
Way
a
to
big,
be
there was like a
ignorant.
pole.
Well, I wasn't alive in the 50s. Sorry.
Was Garden City like a really awesome drive-in? Or
Garden
what?
City.
Garden Valley? Because even the Boise one still had the hardwired boxes when I was growing up.
You still actually the one out in Caldwell now. You can do the radio thing. Your car radio can do it.
Yeah, I would assume that you just turned to the frequency.
I think if you don't have what happens if you don't have a car stereo though? I think they still have the box.
You don't go to the drive-ins in that car.
What if you only have one car?
Then you walk and borrow somebody else's car.
Well, you'd have to you bring a boom box.
It seems
You just throw out a lawn chair next to somebody else's rig.
No,
You're
I
like,
think-
hey, turn it up, I can't hear.
That you can still get the hardwired box in a couple of the spaces.
And so how long is this goddamn cord?
It's probably about 10 feet.
From where? So
there's like a pole thing.
you
It looks
plug
like
it
those
in.
things that are on the other side of the gas pump so you don't run into it. Yeah, and it's got wires in there.
This is all news to me.
Yeah.
I've never actually been to the drive-in.
And, well, it's
So
pretty
you don't-
exciting stuff.
You don't even know the drive-in song then.
I don't know the drive-in
See you
song.
at the drive-in. Welcome to the drive-in.
That's a song, huh?
Yeah, they play it before everything starts, and then they have the popcorn song, and they tell you to go to the concession stand through this little song, and there's like a dancing hot dog and stuff.
I've seen the dancing hot dog.
Yeah, and then they start the movie.
Huh.
Mm.
Okay. Well, that sounds
And
more
then
fun than this film.
you
that we
start the
watched.
boob grabbing.
Yeah.
They're like, yep, this is another one of those drive-in greats where nothing's going to happen. So, hello, boobs. I'm going to make friends with you for about 45 minutes.
The good news is this film is quite short, but not short enough.
Not at all would have been short enough.
Yeah.
The right length for this movie would have been 0 minutes.
Hey, 10, we'd want a story of
Just
some
look
kind.
at the cover art and make your own story in your mind would have been the better idea. Like, oh, I bet you all sorts of exciting things happen in this movie. I should probably never watch it. It's nothing. Nothing happens in this film.
It's a bunch of nothing.
Hey, there's a kidnapping.
I can name some things
Kind
that
of.
don't happen. She doesn't get an egg salad sandwich.
Or any pineapple juice.
Or she doesn't get pineapple juice. There's a lot of dozens, because there's mention of things that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
But none of them nothing in this movie pays itself off.
No, I don't think so at all.
So that you can make a long list of things that don't happen in the movie that we're supposed to.
Yeah. It starts out all right, though.
Does it?
There's a pretty rad truck crash.
Oh, yeah, the truck crash is neat.
Yeah. Like, it's weird, though. It looked weird.
It was at 3 times the speed.
Well, I understand, but there was, like, also cuts of, like, the state of the truck. Like, it was still tumbling, but had obviously burned up quite considerably between the previous tumbling cut. Like, it's like, I'm going off the road, and then there's a cut, and it's still tumbling down the hill, and it's like half a truck.
Yeah.
And then cut, still tumbling, and it's just like a frame of a truck that's burning on fire. It's very strange. But it's instantly on fire. Like, it explodes midair.
It became involved with fire.
Yes, it did. Quite. What's the deal with the truck?
That's the truck.
Uh-huh.
His truck that he ran off the road.
Is it his truck?
So that's the other thing you were saying in the middle of the movie, that he was racing and he ran a guy off the road, but that's not the case. He was in a truck and there was another guy in a truck. The other guy went off the road and they are gonna kill him now.
They're gonna kill who?
Weston.
Webster?
Webster.
Is his name Jack?
I thought his name was Bill Murphy.
Bill.
But that was his
fake name.
Fake name. Frank Webster.
Frank Webster. So yes, Frank Webster had his own truck that he used to make his company was Guy Drives Truck. And then there was another guy who had Guy with Many Trucks. That's his company.
Uh-huh.
And one of the guy that works for Guy with Many Trucks drove off the road that he was also on. So that is meaning that they're going to kill him.
That's right, because guy with one truck obviously is jealous of guy with many trucks.
Yes.
So he drove mini truck guy off the road.
Yeah, that's how they're gonna pin it on him.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's jealous of us. So he killed our guy Pete, And
Deadbeat Pete, of course.
So we're going to kill you now. And then take your truck, I guess.
That's right, because in trucker land, it's all about the lynch mob.
There's no mention to whether, because here's the other thing. You see the truck that gets tumbled didn't have anything in it.
No.
So I don't know if they got to the point, like, they obviously neither of these companies got to the profit stage, but I don't know that it was, they had ever, like, he's like, I got a truck, and it was just me in the truck. I think that was it. I don't know that he made money. He spent some on some gas. But he was a guy, and he drove the truck.
Just drove up and down the same
and
stretch of
that
road
was
every
his
day.
company. And he's like, when I figure out what X factor to add in my business plan,
What could I do with a
What
truck?
could I do with when I figure that out? I'm gonna be into the money pretty good here. And then guy with many trucks is like, well, I've got a head start on this guy because I've got more trucks. But at the same time, I share his problem. Now I have the truck. What do I do with these trucks?
Maybe I should get more trucks. I'll just keep having more trucks. Yeah, I don't get it. Well, Dorothy played by Dorothy Malone.
Yes.
Well, no, Connie. Her name is Connie
Yeah,
in the
Connie.
movie. Connie is she's just tooling around Southern California, going to the Saddle Peak Lodge in her white Jag XK120.
Which is a beautiful, beautiful car.
I sat in one of those when we were in California last time.
So what do you think she does to afford a car like that?
I don't know.
Yeah, they never really address that. Like, she could be a madam for all we know.
Maybe this is like the alternative ending to the beginning of Psycho. She stole all the money. And now she's on her way to the Bates Motel.
At one
she
point,
got sidetracked.
At one point, the guy, one of the other race car guys, is like, you can tell he's not one of us. I think they're all rich kids.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Could be.
And they're all on this racing circuit because they have nothing better to do with
Yeah.
their time. This is before college really became important.
And every single one of their parents are just hoping that they die in a flaming car accident.
Woo, life insurance.
Yeah, or whatever.
Or just get rid of the
them-
nutsack
Get rid of the nutsack.
that I bred.
I made a nutsack. Now I got to take care of it. Here's
Because-
a race car.
Because the trophy wife was like, I'm going to leave you unless you put a baby inside of me. Well, fuck, if I have to do that, I can't get divorced because then I can't be cheating on my wife all the time, because rich people are all dickheads, right?
Sure.
That's how the mentality goes in the 50s, I think.
Yeah, everybody was like, yeah, I got this perfect wife, but a nice piece of ass on the side.
Yeah.
The more that I read about the 50s, I find that everyone was drunk and on amphetamines.
Yeah, elderberry wine.
Like, everyone just took like, housewives just took boatloads of amphetamines.
Mhm.
Yeah, because they're diet pills. And they were trying to keep their figures.
And, guys went to work, and what they did at work is they drank whiskey all day.
Maybe talked a little business over some oysters.
That was work. That's a really tough job.
I got a truck and I don't know what to do with it.
Bust out the whiskey.
I just drive up and down the road drinking whiskey all day in this thing. Money is not rolling in. So she gets hassled at the Saddle Peak Lodge by a
fat guy.
A fat guy, who I think is also a trucker.
I thought he was a
trucker?
cop.
Like a trucker in a suit. That's what I didn't get. Because he was a trucker.
Didn't have a truck.
Yeah, but he said that
He
was
walked there.
he was one of the truckers
Oh.
and he had a business suit on. So apparently truckers were a lot classier back in the 50s.
Well, I think he's got another business problem. His whole is that he might know what to do with the truck, but he doesn't have one.
That guy was in the business of eating sandwiches.
Time for my trip to the Saddle Peak Lodge to get some more sandwiches.
Yeah, and like he was all Mr. Creepy, like, hey baby,
Yeah, he's quite pervy.
that's a nice car you got there. And he like opens the door of the car and she's like looking at him like, go fuck yourself.
One might say rapey. Like,
Yeah.
He's a little rapey.
I think in today's age, that man approaches a woman in the same manner, he's gonna get pepper sprayed.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you're in Texas, a taser. Because in Texas they have taser parties, so all the women have tasers.
Ah.
Yeah, or they just shoot you because it's Texas.
Yeah, they've got
yeah,
guns
yeah,
in Texas, too.
Yeah, the taser parties are that's actually what the nice people do.
That's actually, if you're under 13, you get a taser.
Mm-hmm.
When you're 14, 357.
Yep. When you're 18, a goddamn bazooka
Hey man.
or tank.
Cannons.
Yeah. So she goes in to have a sando. He follows her in to go have a sando. There's some guy there, and then Chatty Cathy, the waitress.
She doesn't shut up.
She will not shut up.
She is just like a lot of waitresses that I have met, though. They all want to sit down at your table and have fun with you. And if you're just a little bit encouraging, then they're like super best friends with you.
Oh,
And
nobody
you're like,
encourages her. She just won't shut up. Period.
Yeah.
You can't even encourage her because you can't say anything because her gums are flapping too much.
hey, she lets you spit out an order, which you know you have to do immediately because when she goes, what do you want? And if you got like 3
Egg salad
seconds.
sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. You've got 3 seconds to say something or she's right back on the bandwagon.
And then she's talking about something that doesn't matter, and then will intermittently interject things like, well, pineapple juice, we don't have any pineapple juice. And then all of a sudden, there's no egg salad either. Right?
Right.
But I thought she was making the egg salad in the bowl.
She was doing something with the bowl.
Yeah, I don't
It
know.
wasn't what like, so there was an order for an egg salad sandwich and an order for a hamburger and a coffee. She started stirring something in a bowl. What she didn't do is start making a hamburger or tell someone to start making a hamburger.
No, she did. She said, I put your burger on in the back.
Oh.
She put the burger on in the back and then walked out.
Yeah.
She's like, the burger's on its own.
Yeah, that's right. Hamburgers got to cook themselves in the 50s.
Huh.
How's my hamburger? I don't know, probably not good.
Probably burnt on one side. Why?
The kitchen's probably on fire now. She knows everything that's going on too. She's in the know. She's knows that some guy named Frank Webster is accused of wrecking a truck,
Murder.
murder, and then he's loose. He's broken out of jail because apparently Frank Webster was arrested for this crime that he supposedly committed, and then he broke out of jail. Now he's out on the loose. He could be anybody. Maybe this guy sitting next to us that looks suspicious.
Well, they should have known. He had a leather jacket on. And in
Right.
the 50s, only badass people had leather jackets and tattoos.
Yeah, anybody that's ready to be the antagonist of a film
Yep.
or the protagonist.
If his
Whatever
pants would have been
he's-
rolled up, it would have been a
I'm not
dead
really
giveaway.
sure what he is in this
I
film.
don't know what he is either. In the lack of ending really sort of helps confuse as to who this movie is about.
Yeah, is he a good guy or a bad guy? Well, I mean, we know he's innocent, but he's
No, wait,
innocent
do
of
we?
the first.
So he's
well, I
innocent
guess
of.
not.
Okay, so he thinks
says
they're
he's
going to kill him,
innocent,
right?
right,
He's
yeah.
not smart.
Right.
He hasn't got the law figured out. Let's say he was drunk. There's probably still something they could have arrested him for,
Well,
or not.
Escaping jail is.
Okay, well, that's the thing, is that whatever
Can't do
he
that.
did, he's done so much worse afterwards.
Yes.
Like, he turned into a hardened criminal instantaneously.
We'll get to that. Let's do it. At the end of this episode, let's do a full crime count that Frank Webster has
No.
committed. Verified. Guilty of. So the guy, the fat trucker guy, I guess, is like,
so why does he have a gun?
why does the fat trucker guy have a gun?
No, and here's the other thing is that he's like, hey, buddy, I know you. Like, he's trying to bust him.
Right.
No, he goes, I didn't see your car out there. And he's like, oh, I'm walking. And the guy's like, well, I'll give you a ride. And he's like, no, I'm good. He's like, let me see your ID. And then trucker guy gets all like nosy about it, like he
Well,
did
yeah,
with
I
the
know,
lady
but what's
outside.
What's the deal? Like,
He's like some kind of nosy bastard. Maybe it's just a small town.
Well, here's the other thing that doesn't make sense. If he's like, let me see your ID, and that causes problems, we find out later that Frank has somebody else's ID.
Yeah,
That is
so
true.
why didn't he just show it to him?
Show
and
it
be
to
like,
him.
yeah, I'm
Go
Bill.
fuck yourself,
Bill
fat trucker.
Mathers or whatever.
Bill something.
Myers.
Yeah, Myers.
Myers.
Yeah, Bill Myers. And then, well, I guess because then there wouldn't be a movie now, would
No,
there?
there's a lot of stuff that you just have to get like, oh, we'll just have to get past this. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a movie.
Yeah, I'm still not sure that there's a movie.
Well, there could be a movie. Maybe.
So, and we also learned that Connie is a member of an elite racing team. She's a race car driver. That's why she's got that Jag, so she can race it.
Connie is a race car driver, 23 years old. Her parents fucking hated her, so they sent her on her own, and they said,
For those of you that like Primus,
Yeah.
you like Sticker Madness. Yeah, so I guess Frank gets the idea. Well, this guy's hassling him. He's sticking a gun, so I got to take care of him. So he throws him against a wall, and he's unconscious.
I thought he pistol whipped him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, either way, the fat guy falls down and he's
Yeah.
out. He's
Falls
out cold.
down and goes into a coma.
So he decides. Yeah.
Oh my god, I hit my head on the soft bench. No!
Well, the waitress thinks he's dead.
You know what the waitress also doesn't do? Take that
Shut up.
hamburger off the back. Like, what is going on with that hamburger?
The state of her kitchen.
I bet she pickpocketed fat trucker guy. So she's like, dude, you ordered this? You're paying for that.
Yeah, I
And then
bet.
she calls the police. Like, she calls the police and then it cuts away from her. She's like, that's gonna be $25.50.
In 1955 money, which is like $7,000 today. So Frank gets the idea because Hottie Connie's got a hottie car and she's a race car driver that, and she's racing to Mexico, that he'll just, hitch a ride with her and get to Mexico. I
Get to
guess.
Mexico.
Even though he's in Southern California. Hey, Frank, it's just right over there. You don't need to catch a ride with in a very conspicuous car with a white lady. You know, just hop in the back of your competitors' vans,
Well,
trucks that
that's,
are just driving up
again,
and down the road.
Does he realize that you can haul things in a truck?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. Well,
There's a lot of space in the back of this machine.
But
What
where
would I-
would I sit?
so there, he grabs her and tosses her in the Jag, and they drive off, and I guess the movie's on.
Then
Yeah, with some really bad, like, they're obviously not driving right because her hair isn't
it's
going
rear
anywhere.
protection. It's
And-
terrible rear protection.
and they didn't even have a very big fan.
No.
Yeah, so her hair's not really going anywhere. They're in a convertible. His hair is not going anywhere. And they're driving along, and it's just like the crappiest. Like, all of a sudden, there's a tree behind him that's like 15 times bigger than it should be because that was the
they never
film track behind it.
They never matched angles, and they never really matched proportion well with the rear projection.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, usually, like, in rear projection car movies, the guy, whoever's driving the car is, like, making way too many steering motions, like, just out of control.
Yeah.
Do it way too much. He is a robot. He is locked in place. His head never moves. His eyes never delineate from dead center, and his arms at no point change position.
Yep, 10 and 2 all the way.
10 and 2, no steering. They are on cruise control, driving down curvy roads.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, it's not good.
So apparently they're low on gas, though. Immediately, Connie drove there without tanking up first.
So I'm going to back up.
Yes, please do.
He's the director.
Uh-huh.
So no one can be like, John, should you be driving the car?
Doing anything at all.
Should somebody tell him that he's driving the car?
The picture behind you is turning, John. Turn.
Try to do anything, John. Yeah, John, what's his name? John Malone?
Malloy?
No.
Dorothy Malone. John
Ireland.
He's quite bad in this film. He's not good.
No. He is.
I can't believe he went on to be somebody.
And he kind of looks like a hobo.
He kind of looks like Jean-Claude Van Damme.
He looks a lot like Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
And he did bang everybody from what I was reading, so you never know if he went to Europe.
He got the French disease.
No, he sired Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh.
Oh.
Jean-Claude Van Damme doesn't know
Secretly.
who his father is.
Or does he?
Or does he?
Oh.
And he
no.
secretly taught him karate and cage fighting
That's
techniques.
right. Only on Stinker Madness will you find out these real trivial
And-
facts.
Top
the
tip.
technique of being the contemporary Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah.
So Van Damme is actually siring illegitimate children all over the earth as well.
Indeed. Well, anyways, back to this turd. I'd rather talk about what John Van Clad turd.
I think our conspiracy theory is great. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
JCVD.
JCVD stars in Fast and the Furious. That's what I want to know about. So she hits the ladies' room while he's at the gas station. And this is the first time she tries to escape.
Daring escape.
Daring escape through the top window of the ladies' bathroom.
Which, it doesn't work. The angles that they used didn't help anything, but... So there's like a window above the door that she goes into, and
Like
for
one of
a
those
while,
ventilation windows.
For a while, I'm thinking, is she just gonna like go in the door and come out the window above it? Because that's not very good escaping.
Like an Abbott and Costello gag. Or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. But then you see some tires under there. But I could tell that it was the same window.
Yeah, I think it was the same door and window.
They
It's
just tried
they
to
put
make
tires
it
in front of it.
seem like it was a different place. But that didn't work out for me. I was like, that's the same window.
Mhm.
And if the bathroom did have two poop vent windows,
Uh-huh.
why would it do that?
Why would you have two poop?
On the corners? I mean, it doesn't like... Yeah,
Because
her
ladies
escape
take
plan...
stinky dumps too, Sam.
Their escape plan is dubious at best.
Yeah, well, she...
But I thought the tires were there for perverts. So that
Oh,
they could climb up on the
yeah.
tires and then kind of peep in and then be like, eh.
Again, with the watching ladies go to the bathroom. Like, yes.
Hot, so hot.
Yeah.
Pee-pee and poopy.
Or is it one of those that, like, you do it and everybody tries it, or not everybody, but, like, everybody thinks it's hot or whatever, but the person who does it only does it the one time and they're like, yep, that's what I thought. That is poop coming out of a butt. Okay, I'm good. I'm good now. I don't need to see that again.
Somebody moved the tire stack.
Yeah.
They never want to be
I
tempted
can
again.
put those tires back over there by that tractor.
Well, meanwhile, the cops show up at the lodge. These two guys, the detectives. These two guys.
The detective. Well, one of them is a fucking doctor. So, well, okay, the first, there's the detective and the police, just the sort of beat cop that's with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then later, though, you get the detective, and where he does his finest work is when he is in tandem with the doctor.
Right. Well, they show up at the lodge, and they find the unconscious guy. The waitress thinks he's dead, and he doesn't say anything. Or no, they hear that from the waitress that they drove away in a jalopy, because that's what the trucker guy said that they were driving was a jalopy. So the cops are not even looking for the right people at this point in time.
No.
And she also told the police that fat trucker guy had been shot.
Yes.
And they're like, but there's no gun and there's no bullet hole. Well, I
Okay.
was in the back. I actually didn't see it.
Maybe this woman knows nothing. Yes.
Now, also, you come in and he's on the ground.
Still.
And the detective, who I'm assuming is a detective because he's wearing a suit,
Mm-hmm.
he comes in, gets on one knee, and then touches the man's butt.
He's
And
still
and
alive.
he's still alive. That's a warm butt. Was that the protocol before feeling for the pulse?
Maybe.
Like, yep, that's a warm butt. This man is alive.
Maybe we were to think that like his hand was back there, like he was on his arm or something.
No.
Maybe. I don't know, but it looks like he's touching his butt.
It totally does, though.
Well, her and Webster are driving around, Connie and Webster.
Yeah.
And their banter between the two of them instantly starts sucking.
It goes... You wonder if it was even written, or if they were just making the lines up as they went along.
They might as well.
Well, I think it would be harder to write something like this.
Yeah, it's like...
Because every line contradicts the last.
Yeah, they're just arguing, fighting, but not really. They're not saying... It's like words. Oh, yeah?
She's like,
well,
I
words,
hate you.
words.
And he's like, yeah, shove it up your butt, bitch. Shut up. I like nice, quiet girls. And she's like, oh, yeah? Well, fuck you too, bucko. And then they see a cop and they're like, uh-oh, better take the mountain road.
Well, she says something to the degree of, like, I don't only hate you, I also dislike you.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Like,
Yeah.
what is that? Like, well, duh. Great. Thanks for that tidbit of information. If you hate a guy, you're also gonna dislike him. You know what? I hate your guts, but you're okay. What? No. Yeah, the writing is also quite bad. I'll give Roger Corman some credit. He is only credited as story by Roger Corman, not actual writing.
Again, there was a story.
Yeah, that's also true. Cars in movie. The
Yes.
story.
Fast cars.
Yeah, fast cars. There's your story. Print it. So now there's motorcycles. Cops. They're chasing them down. Webster's thinking, oh no, oh shit, they're gonna get me. So what does Connie do? This is her chance. She pulls the key out of the ignition of a running car.
And throws it into the bushes.
I don't think it works that way.
No, it doesn't.
Ever.
Well, I have my dad's 68 Chevy.
Mm-hmm.
The keys just sort of fall out of it, but the engine doesn't turn off.
Yeah, but you don't churn the ignition. The keys slide
Just
in
come
and
out of it,
Right.
yeah.
You don't actually crank it. I don't think you can crank it back. I think because wasn't the steering wheel lock one of the very first things that they did back then? You couldn't, the steering wheel would lock if you,
I don't think that happened that early.
huh.
I don't think that happened until the 70s.
Yeah, I just don't know if in 1955 still you could shut a car off while it was
I don't
running.
know that it would have. I think that it would have. If she would pull the keys out, I think it would have just. The keys are now over there. The car is still running.
Maybe.
Unless she turned it off. If she turned off the ignition and then threw them in the bushes, I guess that would have been off, and they would have had some
Yeah,
problems.
but it's a manual. The car would have seized up.
It would have grinded down.
Yeah. Yeah. Never ran again. Yeah, I don't know.
Would it be a
about
bad
this.
deal?
Yeah. So the cop shows up and he's like, hey, did you know your tail light's out? Okay, see you
He
later.
didn't just say that. He's like, you're speeding and your taillight's out. Just wanted to tell you that. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
You have also got some confusion as to what your job is.
He was so lazy, he didn't even get off the motorcycle to tell them that.
He was like trying to leave the whole time.
Yeah, he was like, dude, it's late. There's a coffee shop like 5 miles up the road.
Donuts.
Yeah, I'm not even going to get off my bike for this one. Just, yeah.
Oh, by the way, there's a crazy murdering man and a lady running around that look exactly like you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I do not give speeding tickets. And then, you go back and you're like, hey, Bill, what's up? Not much. Just pulled the guy over. Oh, yeah? And you're thinking, maybe he did it. Maybe he wrote the ticket. Well, what was the problem? You're like, well, they were going real fast. They didn't have a taillight. And, yep, I told him that. And then I left. I was like, God damn it. You got to write him a ticket. You're tripping on the finish line every time.
Yeah, so they pull over to the side of the road because it's now getting late. It's close to midnight. She's hungry and she's cranky, and so they
And she's fussy the whole time.
fussy the whole time,
Which, I mean, you should be somewhat fussy if you've been kidnapped,
I guess.
but she's fussy in all the wrong ways for a captive.
Yeah. I'm hungry. I'm sleepy. Let's pull over. Not like, get me the fuck away from you.
Yeah.
Let me go. Somebody help me. None of that. She's just, oh,
Yeah. This is inconvenient.
I'm chilly. Can you roll up the windows? So they post up camp, I guess. They camp off the side of the road in the dirt.
I don't know.
All I know is that he tied her up.
Yeah.
But they didn't even make it through that. Like, that ended up being another argument that the way that it was written, it's sort of like these conversations, they never resolve themselves.
Mm-mm.
It's just like the person who was writing it stopped writing, and then it's a new scene. But when she ties him, he tries to tie their arms together. She complains about it. Then it goes through some...
Oh, don't forget he sexually assaults her.
Yeah. That's how he ends the
It's
scene,
a kiss.
isn't it?
Right. Well, it's a forced. It's pin the woman down and force yourself onto her, because that's I just, if the movies have taught me anything from 1950 through about 1965, how you get chicks is you force yourself on top of them,
And if they don't like it, you slap them in the face.
and then you force yourself on
And
top
then,
of them some
yeah,
more until they like it.
It's like there's a flow chart for it.
Yep.
That is, force yourself on top of him. Did she stop you? If yes, slap in face. If no, have sex. And then after the slap in face, like the arrow goes back to the force yourself on top of her. So there's just a one circle that is just getting on top of him and slapping him in the face until it's time to have the sex.
I'm pretty sure that's actually, I think that was
Yeah.
a thing. I think that was passed out in at sex education to tell the
Junior
man.
high.
Sex education in 7th grade in 1950. They hand out the paper and every guy in the class is like, yeah, it seems about right. And every chick's like, what the fuck?
Terrible 1950. So the cops, one cop, like you just said, they have the discussion right next to their campsite. So they have to coast away so that the cops don't hear them. He pushes the car, doesn't start it, which I'm pretty sure the cops would hear the gravel underneath the tires. That's a pretty loud thing.
The cops' conversation, too, is another... That was one of the examples of dialogue that betrays itself immediately. So the one guy pulls up to the other guy, who's already just sitting around on his motorcycle,
right.
And he goes, geez, you stop more than you ride. And then a second later said, let's take a break. You know what? Either you're bitching about him not doing anything, and now you're ready to take a break from not doing anything?
It's hard work. It's hard work being on those motorcycles, just sitting there looking at the beautiful countryside of Southern California, wine country. Yeah, so they get guided into a roadblock with the other racers, who are Connie's group of people.
Again, with the police and their handling of the situations.
Hey, we're looking for a guy that looks just like you, with a lady that looks just like her.
Let's just go to point A. Racing is illegal.
That is correct.
Yes. In 1955, racing was illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So they got them all pulled over, packed their asses into jail.
Yep, every single one of them.
Got numbers on the side of their cars, what they're going to be doing. Illegal.
Indeed.
But
instead,
no, they help them
they
race
get a
illegally.
Police escort so that they can race. We're looking for these criminals. You obviously are not them. Here, let's escort you to safety. Thanks.
Okay.
Sounds like a deal. And he's like all like,
Yeah, but at this point,
oh, this is terrible.
in their defense, they still think that they're in a jalopy.
Yeah.
They have not figured out Jaguar yet.
Yeah. Still.
So, you know.
I don't know. Well, they're about to figure out the car because as they go back to, actually, we skipped the first interrogation. The very first interrogation that they go where the guy's at the hospital that you mentioned, the doctor,
Yeah,
the,
fat trucker.
the investigator.
Where he is
When did hospitals get quilts and headboards that look like, I don't know,
a
like
hotel room.
Yeah.
We
Did
may
you
have-
also notice
again,
that there was
1950s, we may have to
what
just
are those
assume.
dividers called that you get dressed behind?
Dividers.
There's not a name for those.
I think they're just called dividers, actually.
Huh.
Yeah, I used to sell those when I sold furniture. You'd either get a 4-fold or a 3-fold divider.
Okay, well, there was one of those in the room, and it was separating that bed area from about 6 inches of space in between it and the wall.
Yes.
So like, art direction. Anyway, so that doesn't work. The nurse she's standing there, and she's having a hard time standing there, to be honest. She looks at the camera twice, but she's on TV, and she's happy about it. And then
She gets to bone John Malone later.
unnamed detective...
God damn it, John Ireland.
John Ireland, yeah, he probably did. Unnamed detective and unnamed doctor have conversations that don't make any sense, and then he asks the patient, who may or may not be a trucker, who are they? What do they look like? What car did they drive? He's asleep.
He is unconscious.
He's unconscious, and he's rattling off very detailed questions.
We need you to tell us how this all went
Yeah.
down. Could you please explain this?
And the second
No? Okay.
the guy wakes up, he stops talking.
Yep. Well, it looks like this man's going to be useless.
And then the doctor, like, he wakes up, and you're like, oh, he's come to. How about that? And then the doctor turns to the nurse while he's still visibly awake and says, nurse, notify me of any change in this man's condition. And she should have just been like, he's awake.
Just point at him. Right there.
That man is awake. And then they leave, and so he's like, I guess I'll go back to sleep. Damn fine doctorate and police work.
Well, they come back to have the second interrogation, and they essentially do the exact same thing. Just rattle off a bunch of questions to a sleeping man. They don't even, like, jostle him, like, wake up, you son of a bitch, we need information. They're just like, excuse me, sir. We'd like to take a moment of your time, if that's okay. Do you have any new information for us? Nope. Okay. Wait. Oh, he does.
Yeah.
He can only
He's
say
the-
one thing.
Jag.
What is his deal?
I still don't even know if he's a
What
trucker.
is the prognosis of this man? Why is he so goddamn unconscious?
The prognosis
down.
The prognosis was falling down.
Yes. I can only say one thing in between passing out.
That's what I had to. It was assumed that he was pistol whipped because they had his head bandaged too.
That's true. They did have a head bandage on him. He was looking pretty sickly there in that bed. But you almost couldn't see his face because his stomach was so big. So you know they had to have like 15 pillows behind his head. Like, we're just going to prop you up a little bit. It's like a sit-up, but not really. That trucker guy.
a very comfortable sit-up. So Webster's now, I guess he thinks that the best way to get out of town is to enter this race. Instead of just drive, because maybe he doesn't have a choice because of the escort. Like, oh, I was just going to drive down the PCH, but instead they've driven me to this race. So if I don't get involved in
let's
this
say
race,
you go back to the conversation where he's at the roadblock. Why not just say, yep, that's cool. We're just driving south.
yeah, my name is Bill
I have
Meyer. Here's my
identity.
ID.
That says I'm Bill Meyer.
We're headed to Mexico.
We're headed to Mexico.
See ya. No, this guy, you're right. He is an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way there's anything in the back of his truck.
No, there was never anything in the back of that truck.
No. So he has to do a qualify run, and she's like, oh, steer harder, drive faster,
Oh, boy.
keep the revs up. You don't know what you're doing.
And then, like, the next sentence is, boy, howdy can you drive?
You sure are a great driver, but there's trucks on the racetrack.
It's not a racetrack.
It's just
It's
California.
Yeah.
It's a public road.
And it's illegal. But the police are helping.
Hey, they're setting up hay bales for people's safety.
But not getting trucks that are parked in the middle of the road off of it.
Those trucks
No.
have the hay bales, Justin.
Oh, that was the hay bale truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about
I think
that.
you missed
Yeah.
it.
So yeah, she's like super pumped about it. I'm like, oh, you're the greatest driver I've ever seen. Have you been driving long? Nope. First day ever. I can tell. Wait, you just said that I was good at this.
Yeah.
Why, you are good at this in a terrible sort of way. What are you saying to me?
What are you saying to me is the theme of this movie.
Yeah.
They never speak clearly.
Well, the cops are all over this race thing. They're looking for Frank Webster, not Bill Meyer, but Frank Webster and some dame in a white Jag.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's pulling them over and being like, hey, did you hear the cops are looking out for Frank Webster and some dizzy blonde in a white Jag? Say, that sure is a nice white Jag you got there, and that dizzy blonde that you're with. Well, see you later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Drive away.
It helps if you're an idiot, if everyone else around you is also an idiot.
Which you kind of have to assume at this point.
Yes.
I'm surrounded by assholes. Keep firing, assholes.
You're like, I'm the worst criminal in the world. Thank God I live in California.
So speaking of criminal, he confesses that he was framed for all this. What's the charge?
Vehicular manslaughter.
Or is it reckless driving?
Or is it, I don't know, because that's the thing. It goes back to man with truck versus man with many trucks. And all I can determine is man with truck says that he's going to get killed by man with many trucks.
Yeah, but he's also being chased by the cops because he's been framed for this act.
I guess.
Was the act, are they
The
saying...
cops are chasing him because he busted out of jail and he's pistol whipped a guy, I think. He's knocked over a fat guy and put him in a coma, and he's kidnapped a blonde lady. That's why the police are after him.
Yeah, but no, he escaped from jail, remember?
Yeah, the escaping from jail was the first thing I said.
Yeah, but they would have had to arrested him for something.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it must have been this
Right, they blamed him because
Right.
the guy with mini trucks fingered him as, hey, my other truck got ran off the road by that dick.
Yeah.
Guy with one truck ran my second truck off
I
the
really
road.
want to know if it was reckless driving or vehicular manslaughter. Because reckless driving is just a ticket. You don't go to jail for that.
No, you don't.
Vehicular manslaughter you do. So it must have been vehicular manslaughter.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
They were pinning it on him for murder.
The murder. Murder!
Murder!
He jumped inside of that man's truck and then steered him off the road and then jumpp out in the nick of time.
In his own truck.
And then lit the explosives that were being carried in the back so that it would explode perfectly in midair and tumble, ensuring the man's death inside. And burned to the ground so that there's no
Murder.
evidence.
Yeah.
None. Not even
None.
not even a body. Dum. So they decide to go and have a picnic, I guess. Because the cops are everywhere. We gotta cheese it.
Cheese it.
Let's go up this hill that's off limits and have a picnic. Because you got sandwiches and a canteen inside of your shirt.
That wasn't even the thing. Like, yeah, let's not go have a picnic. She's like, I have a safe house, which is, we were like, what? Do you have a safe house for? 2, she doesn't. It's just somebody's house and they're not supposed to be there. But 3 was, when they get there, he's like, hey, check this out. I've got lunch in my shirt.
Yeah, like, where was he keeping that?
In his shirt.
2
The whole
sandwiches and
time.
a thermos.
The whole time. From the start of this film. He had that thermos and sandwiches in jail. He had it while he killed the man inside the truck. He had it when he stole her, bunching guys, sleeping out in the woods. Just sandwiches and thermos wedged up in his armpits.
So, what was adding some realism to this scene? She would have been like, after he pulls it out, his shirt was really quite open, showing off the chest. So she would have been like, you've got a lot of mayonnaise on your chest. And they're like, yeah, that's a lot of mayonnaise on my chest. And then she opens the thermos, and there's nothing in it. He's like, yeah, most of the coffee's in my pants. So, yeah, that's how that would actually go. How long have you had that in there? Too long.
Since the beginning. I like to picture him at the diner at the South Peak Lodge, like,
Yeah.
why did I order a hamburger? I got sandwiched in my shirt. When am I ever going to eat this sandwich? I keep ordering food. Well, I guess she finally gets some snackings. So she's now, because he's got sandwich in his shirt, she's starting to change her mind about the Frank Webster. She's starting to fall in love. You can see the seeds of romance being
because he's-
planted.
Because he can kind of drive okay. Yeah. And he keeps food in his clothes.
And he says he was framed.
Yeah.
That's the key part. Oh, well, then you're not a bad guy. You must be a great guy then, and I should marry you.
You should keep your food somewhere else.
It's the first thing she'll change, because they always want to change you when you fall in love.
Yeah.
Less sandwiches up your shirt. So some farmer guy shows up.
With
kicks
the
him off.
most awesome mustachio ever.
So
It's
that
Mario's mustache, basically.
and I already forgot his name. He was a silent film comedian. He was sort of a poor man's Buster Keaton.
So was he supposed to be in this movie? It's like, oh, it's
It's
time
a
for some comedy relief.
Cameo.
It's not funny.
Well, it's not funny. It was just like, hey, it's that guy. Cameo.
Bye.
See ya.
Hey, by the way, there's a killer out on the loose.
So
and it
he-
looks just like you. See ya.
So what you're saying is that you, because they didn't do anything good in this movie, that the cameo, well, how come the cameo's not good? I don't know why the cameo wasn't good. How come Will Smith's cameo wasn't good in Winter's Tale?
Wait, what? It's not good. Wait, Will Smith's in Winter's Tale? So they have to leave. They're kicked off the ranch.
Because teenagers go up there to neck, and the police come up there to bust them.
Yeah, well, you don't want the police coming up there looking for teenagers, because then they might find you, and you would just say, hey, I came up here because I'm Bill Meyer.
And they would be like, hey, Bill Meyer, who we've already talked to twice today.
Did you know that there's a guy with looks just like you?
Dark hair, yellow shirt, mayonnaise all over his chest.
Well, see ya.
See ya.
So she tries to escape again, even though now she's starting to fall in love with him, and he wrestles her to the ground, and drags her a bit, and jostles her. So now he's actually just assaulted her, not sexually assaulted her.
Yeah,
he's injured a woman in the interest of kidnapping.
That's what that bitch gets for trying to run away.
Yeah, I guess. But you know what? Let's go to the races.
Yeah. And who the hell tries to run away in high-heeled shoes? Like, in a forest, you're trying to make your break in a pair of high-heeled shoes that are just actually going to get stuck in the ground.
You should probably kick those things off.
Yeah. I mean, she's like trying to run up a mountain in a pair of high heels. I'm like, you're going to get
It's the 50s.
caught.
You've always got to look your best.
Whatever.
You don't want the men to think that you're not a highfalutin dame, right? Or whatever.
Ooh, would have never made it in the 50s. That would have been like, fuck you and you and you. Now go get me a vodka cran.
And then you would have been burned at the stake for witchcraft. Wait, different time.
Yeah,
That's New Jersey.
that was a while
This is
before
California.
that.
Safe California. Just sexually assaulting California, not burn you at the cross. So, Connie. Connie's beau starts to figure it out, is what I have written.
Oh, so is that guy her boyfriend or what?
Well, I thought it actually said for a bit the commies have started to figure it out.
Which they might have. At this point, that was a problem.
The Red Scare.
This is the beginning of the Red Scare.
Yes, indeed.
Actually, like, this is... Oh, no, we're heavily into the Red Scare in 55.
Yeah, I think that it's obvious that this guy, I don't even know what the fuck his name is. He is definitely interested in getting inside of Connie.
I thought his name was Lance.
Might as well be. For the sake of this podcast, sure.
Lance, Pete, any other phallic name?
Well, he doesn't die, so he can't
Dick.
be Pete. Dick. He could be Dick. Yeah. Lance.
He'd have to be Limp Dick because he did almost die at the end.
Spoilers. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. She at one point says, hey, there's my boyfriend. But is she just using that as like a line to be
get
like,
away, or
Yeah.
I don't know. If he is a boyfriend, he's a shitty one.
Yeah. Oh, you can just cruise around with this guy that's hanging on to you awful tight. That looks just like Frank Webster. I'll see ya.
Okay. Side bye.
Good luck in the race.
Yeah. This guy doesn't look like a driver. He's holding your arm real tight. Yeah. Well, good luck tomorrow.
Yeah. He's starting to put two and two together and be like, hey, you don't look like much of a racer. You're not rich enough.
You look like a guy who drives trucks.
Ooh, that don't have anything in the back.
Don't have anything in the back.
I've fingered you, mister. In the butt. Hey, wait. Wrong movie.
That's also a different movie.
But it's like
yes.
everybody figures it out, and then they're like, okay, bye.
Yep. See you later.
Yeah.
You know, but maybe they don't suspect Connie because she's obviously part of this group. She's been around, right?
Never
So,
suspect Connie.
yeah. So they're like, if it's Connie, if she was in danger, she'd probably just say something. She'd let us know.
She does. She's like, help me.
And they're like, oh, Connie, you little jokester, you.
Yeah. Well, see ya.
They're like, this man has abducted and raped me. This is 1955.
I don't know the meaning of those words.
I am going to do that to someone who's no. So you are called for then. He's got dibs on you. Because I was going to do that in a second.
Oh, those things that I do every day actually have words? I didn't know they were called something. I thought that's just what you did. Well, they wander around.
Yeah. Which I don't even... So they have to put the car into pit.
I guess. And then go walking at night.
And then they're going to walk somewhere, but they don't have anywhere to walk.
They don't have anywhere to go. They can't walk to Mexico.
No, they're trying to find some place to stay. which going away from the resort area is probably not the best bet.
And she's obviously got money.
Yeah, why
didn't she just
get a
pony
room?
up for a room? Yeah. I mean, like, what a stingy bitch.
The one chick that shows up in the car in a second, she said there isn't going to be a room anywhere around there. But she also says a lot of things that don't really make sense.
Her dad is a deputy, Sam.
Yeah,
and that's
so they
why
can't,
they can't
hang out
stay.
with her because he already talked to that guy twice today.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, hey, it's me. Remember Bill Meyer?
Bill Meyer.
Yes. Here's my ID again. If you
I'm
need
the
to see it.
stand-in race car driver,
That's me.
Bill Meyer, me.
Don't you know me, Bill Meyer?
Yeah.
Well, they end up going to a barn instead. They find some barn out in the woods.
I don't know
was-
if I'd call that a barn as
It's
much
a
as
shed.
I'd call that
A
a
shed.
shed.
Yeah.
The
A shanty house.
This is the point where it's the second time that he doesn't really make sense with his wanting to walk. Because the first time, like, when he does whatever to make the fat guy fall down and go into a coma,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, I'll give you a ride. Let me see your identification. That doesn't make sense. That just plays too fast. It doesn't work. Now this one has another one where she's like, let me give you a ride. And he says, no, it'll make us late. We can walk faster than your car goes. No, we can't. No, you don't give us a ride. It'll make us late to the place that we have nowhere to go. But if you give us a ride to anywhere, we'll be late.
Sounds good. See you later. She drives off. Well, it turns out that in the 12 hours that Frank has known Connie, he loves her.
He loves her.
Of course, this is 1955. Everybody has to love everybody instantly.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, you know what? You're a really groovy chick, and if this all works out, maybe we can go get coffee sometime. It's, nope, I love you.
That's what you did.
He does not love her. He does not. He has kidnapped her, sexually assaulted her, jostled her significantly, stole her car,
Held her at gunpoint.
Endangered her life several times. by
Accosted her 2 times.
driving.
Gave her a mysterious sandwich.
Mm-hmm. You know, some armpit sando.
Refused to allow her to sleep in the bush
Right?
when she wanted to.
I
So
like it
desperately
here.
sleep in the
I'm
bush.
so tired.
Hey, I'll just sleep in the bush. No one does that.
Yeah. So they bone, I think.
They fade to black.
Yeah. They fade to black. They wake up when all their clothes are on. But they're laying down next to each other. They did it.
Yeah, they did it.
Yeah. So
it's part of the Arkoff way.
mhm.
Fornication is the last key component in the formula.
Yep. But it's okay because he loves her. So he locks her in the barn, though.
Yeah.
Because he loves her.
Because he loves her.
Mhm.
Now here's the point where it's really rough that he even kidnapped her. Like, it's hard to hold on to that because if he just would have stolen her car,
Mhm.
I guess maybe you figure that the police will get to him faster because she can tell. But then there's a couple of points where they know everything, and there's really no reason for him to be keeping her around
None. It would actually behoove him
to just ditch
to not
the
have
situation.
her in the car.
Or
'Cause they're
the
looking
car.
for a man and a woman.
At that point, like,
Right.
he can just make off on foot and hitchhike out of there.
Yes, he could.
No
one the wiser.
Now, at this point, it really doesn't make sense that he's like, now she banged him. There's nothing that she can do that will help or hurt him in his escaping the police.
Other than further bangings.
But she can't, like, turn him in. She's not going to. There's no reason for him to lock her in that barn.
Absolutely not.
None.
Well, he doesn't want to take her with him because then she'll be an accomplice.
Well, he's gonna lock her in a barn. And he said, I'm gonna tell somebody you're in there. And did he?
No, I don't think so.
Well,
he just gets
how
in the
did-
car and drives off.
I think he had to because the guy shows up later.
I just thought that was some random happen by.
Huh.
But I love what she does because she's trapped in this barn.
Oh, yeah.
The greatest plan of all time.
Yes.
She
Let's us set a fire.
is very good at
I'm gonna
daring escape.
burn myself out of this barn.
Her
Smoke inhalation will get you first.
Yes.
dubious escape attempt with the tires at the beginning
Uh-huh.
is pales in comparison to this attempt at suicide.
Yeah. So she takes a bundle of clothes and then sticks them under the door and then lights them on fire. Help! Help! The barn's on fire!
Yeah.
No shit, dummy.
No, you just lit it on fire and you're in a box that's on fire. That is good work.
Meanwhile, Frank has joined the race. He's racing to Mexico. Not just driving there, but racing to Mexico. Some guy comes and frees Connie. She calls the cops and tells them that Frank is the guy. He's driving car number 55. But now that other
But
guy.
he's innocent.
Yeah, and
Yeah, but
he's innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's innocent.
You have to stop him. He's innocent.
So she gets a car and gives chase so she can catch up to him and be like, I love you, I guess, or something. I don't know.
Something.
Yeah, but what I want to know, how'd she get ahead of all those other cars?
Oh, she's obviously
She's
one of
the
the best
fastest,
drivers
yeah.
ever. I don't know. Well, the other guy, Lance,
The boyfriend.
he finds out that Webster's Webster, so he chases him.
I thought he was just racing.
No, they go through the roadblock, remember? And hey, that's Frank Webster, that guy out there. Don't
So
worry, I'll
when
get
was
him.
the race over?
It doesn't end, Sam. The race does not end. We never know who wins the race.
Oh.
But this guy's a genius of running people off the road, though.
So they're not racing, he's chasing him.
They were racing at first, but then,
But then the police were like,
that's the guy.
let's do a roadblock for this race so that we can catch
Well,
the
Connie
criminal.
calls and spoils
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
And so they put a roadblock up and they're
Uh-huh.
like, hey, should we maybe just arrest all of the race cars that come through here?
Well, no.
Because it's illegal?
No.
Okay. We'll
No.
just see if we can catch the guy who ran a truck off the road?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the other guy crashes. Frank pulls over and saves his life, I guess. Pulls him out of
Drags-
the burning wreckage.
Which was really, really funny looking.
Yes.
I thought it was a dummy, but it wasn't. It was a man completely going limp. Like, had to hurt himself a couple times with how limp he was.
Ragdolly.
And how John Ireland was just dropping him and throwing him and
That's
That's
dragging
what I
him.
thought
Face in the
too.
dirt.
That he was a mannequin or something, and then it was like, oh no, that's a real person.
And that was not fun.
Not a good job day. Connie pulls up, and John confesses that I'm gonna face the music. Credits.
Kiss,
Credit.
kiss,
What?
kiss.
So he's gonna... It's over?
It's over? Who won?
Who won the race? Was the race important?
Did they make it to Mexico?
Was that roadblock Mexico?
Was the roadblock Mexico?
Because it kind of looked like it was a gate that was there all the time.
Like a checkpoint.
yeah.
Yeah, like that might have been Mexico, but they didn't make it to Mexico.
Maybe they made it to Mexico.
Well, no, they made it to Mexico. So why does it even matter?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, this movie stinks.
Stinks.
Yeah. What's your questions, Jackie?
I only have one,
Okay.
which I will go first so you guys can think about your answers.
Mhm.
Okay.
So because there was no real ending to this movie, right? Where do you see this movie going?
Like
Like,
what
what's
happens
the
now?
ending? Yeah. So for me, it was, I'm going to go back, Connie, and we're going to make things right. So they go back. She denies any involvement with him. He goes to jail. He gets fingered by a guy with mini trucks. He gets the chair.
Then he goes to jail and gets fingered by Bubba.
No, he gets the chair for the first offense,
He
plus
doesn't
all
even-
the other
He doesn't
ones.
even go to jail. They just send him straight to the chair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, yep, you ran a truck off the road, then you did all this other crap, and then you ran a
He
race
gets
car
off
driver
witness
off the
stand,
road.
And then they just wheel in an electric
No.
chair into the courtroom. and
No,
stop
the
him
witness
right there.
stand. They just open it up and it's already, and then the thing comes down from the top and there's a colander above his head and it's like the witness stand was also the electric chair. This is Texas justice.
And then he just gets the shit zapped out of him. And then
Literally.
then she just goes back to Lance and she's like, well, that was pretty fun. Hey, let's go to the next race.
Yeah. I don't see that's playing by the rules that they've established. I think that's a fine ending.
I can't argue with that.
I can't do any better.
The only thing I guess I could add is if it is Mexico, him and Connie have a weekend fling, and it turns out that she is a flaming bitch. And so he kicks her to the curb, and then he goes and meets Andy Dufresne down on the beach, and then they become best friends.
Okay, wait, I've got an ending. They're in Mexico, and he's like, I'm gonna come clean. I am ready to go back to America and set things right with the truth. I'm kind of thirsty. And he drinks some water. Massive diarrhea.
Montezuma.
Yeah, and he never makes it. And then she's like, oh, good thing we got to hit this roadblock early in the relationship because I can't even handle massive diarrhea, not let alone for better or for worse. Like, I'm out. And she just leaves, and he's stuck in Mexico with the trots.
But first she asks him for another one of those sandwiches. Can I have another one of those armpit sandwiches? before I
Armpit
go?
sandwiches.
Is this just how the 50s were?
No.
Just believe anything bullshit.
Just that this all of this preposterousness, the interaction between people, and obviously the sexual assault stuff, and that the cops are just like, oh, you say you're this guy? Well, that's great. And I mean, is this how the 50s were?
It can't have been. Everyone was an idiot.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. But
Yeah.
if space aliens saw this movie, they'd think that everybody on Earth was an idiot.
Yeah, I think so. Sam, what's your question?
My question is that, and I kind of know, like, I've seen some scripts when I worked for that kids TV show, the guy that would produce it, he'd done some movies in the 60s, and he had all these scripts laying around, and, I would think that, you know, like, how much of this is made up and not a lot of it's written down because it doesn't make sense. I've seen scripts that look like this, that it's written down. This was written down. Somebody wrote this.
Mm-hmm.
How hard would it be to write this? Because it's like, I feel like do you think this would be harder than writing a good script? To write a script where every sentence contradicts the previous sentence?
Well, if that's your game plan going in, then no, it wouldn't be that hard. But if you unintentionally did that, it's like 1,000 monkeys at a typewriters type thing.
Well, and you know how some people just cannot write to save their lives?
Yeah.
That's probably what happened here. An English assignment gone wrong.
I think there's a little bit of it too that it's almost like they don't want to say anything because it would have, like, if there was a coherent message, then they would be taking a side on something. And these sort of budget movies where they just want to, like, sell it to a 19-year-old male, they're trying to sell him the ticket, but that's it.
Yeah, this ain't no He-Man and She-Ra moral of the story afterwards type of thing.
I think that they're intentionally written this way to just be ambiguous, so that they can't get in trouble for anything. They're not making any message that they sold a ticket to a 19-year-old male who then brought his girlfriend or his little brother.
Yeah.
So they sold 2 tickets, and then they were like, well, there was some cars.
Yeah.
I wanted to see cars in a movie, a focus group. I went to that, and they did that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the cars were great in this movie. Some really awesome cars in this movie.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, good cars.
My question is, did Sam fall asleep?
I did not fall asleep. I came very close.
Ooh, flirting with the sleepies.
I didn't think he did, because usually when he does, he starts to make this weird breathing sound.
Yeah.
Where he's sitting up and he might have the steeple going with his hands, you know, and they're kind of just resting on his chest. And he'll look like he's sitting upright, but then all of a sudden you hear this weird, like, animal grunge noise come out of the back of his throat, and you know that he is just sucking up saliva or something back there. And you're like, Sam, are you asleep? No.
It's the chair that I usually sit in gets my neck perfectly, so it's like it's the alarm that I'm asleep because I just can't breathe. It's like,
It's like a Darth Vader weird guttural thing.
No, I made it all the way through. There was a couple of points where it was, I dropped my pen. I was falling out of consciousness and my pen slipped out. And it wasn't just that. It was like, I thought I had to poop. So I had like a double false alarm. I heard the pen hit the ground. I was like, oh, I was about to fall asleep. And I was like, I almost pooped my pants.
Dude, you just ate a sandwich like 30 seconds before that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yikes.
Speaking of Montezuma's revenge.
But it turns out it was just a fart.
Oh, good
Oh,
job.
thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. I have one more question.
Okay.
Where the fuck was Vin Diesel?
He was not in this movie.
Damn it.
This was not Fast and Furious enough.
Oh, yes.
And there was no family dynamic to this
Yeah.
one.
This is for real now. Boy, I hope Furious 7 is better than the Fast and the Furious 1955.
Oh, yeah. Well, it can't be any worse.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you know, I'm excited for Field Trip Day because I get popcorn.
I like field. We haven't been on a field trip in a while.
I know. So I'm like really excited for the popcorn and the candy.
The last time we went to see a movie at the theater that we did a podcast on, I think was The Expendables 3.
Yeah, we were going to do Jupiter Ascending, but it was so shitty that we just literally like, nope, can't even do it.
I don't wanna
It's too
talk about
crappy.
that. I don't want to
I
talk
want
about
to
that.
erase it from my memory.
Yeah. I'm guessing that we're all going to say, do not watch this film.
Do not.
Do.
Oh.
Do if you've got the flu and you're at home and you don't have anything better to do, but you kind of want to fall asleep without Sam's pin dropping poopiness.
I did think that we riffed the shit out of this thing.
Yeah.
This was easy to make fun
It's
of.
easy. Yeah.
It could have easily been an MK 3000.
Oh, I'm surprised it's not.
I'm surprised it's not.
And I didn't, it was okay. I mean, it's for me, it gets the flu vote. Like, you've taken your Dayquil or your NyQuil during the day and you're like, I'm kind of going to drift off here. I'm going to start watching this movie. Exactly, Sam. And then you just go to sleep during this movie and you wake up and it's over.
Huh, all right. That's not a recommendation to watch the movie. That's a recommendation to use it as a sleep aid.
As Valium. This shit is visual Valium.
You know, that's saying something, considering that I used to use, what was that? Charlie Brown's Valentine's Day special.
Ah.
I used to put that on and then fall asleep within the first 2 minutes.
But now you've switched to the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, now I'm going to switch totally over to this movie. It's like, oh, black and white.
Ah.
The truck falls off the side of the cliff and
Most
I'm out.
exciting thing happens within the first 2 seconds of the movie.
Yeah, and then I'll wake up at the end and it'll be like, Mexico. And then kiss and it's over.
Yep, fair enough. That's all you really need to know in this movie. Truck goes over the edge, a man and a woman kiss.
Yeah.
The end.
And there's some sweet cars.
Yeah. There's your show. We'll see you next time. In the meantime, get to the chopper.
Visit us at www.stinkermadness.com. Follow Stinker Madness on Twitter @StinkerMadness. Please rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher. Thank you for listening, and get to the chopper.